Hello and welcome to another episode of the Newtype Notebook, where we take a deep dive into some of the newest and best builds from exciting builders across the gunpla and plastic modeling community. Ricky, you can find me on Instagram at Ricky_Glues. And in this episode, I am thrilled to be sitting down with Cobraplamo and Chloeesdad to dive into our epic group build of the Gquuuuuux Gelgoog. All of us hail from Washington State, and I've had the awesome opportunity to connect with these talented builders through the local competition scene here. In this chat, we'll explore the origins of this ambitious project, share our takes on the mysterious Gquuuuuux series, and debate the burning question, is it really a Gelgoog? Plus, we'll break down the nitty-gritty details of each of our builds, revealing the unique twists and techniques that make our contributions stand out. Please note that we do talk about the Gquuuuuux series, and there are some spoilers for the plot. So if you haven't watched it, just be warned. And I hope you enjoy. Why don't we just go ahead and jump right in, man? I'm so glad that we got to get together, and I just wanted to start real quick, just introing each of us, and then we'll kind of just dive in and talk a little bit about Gquuuuuux. We'll talk a little bit about our kits and just kind of take it from there. So, CD, why don't you kick us off? How would you describe yourself as a builder for people who don't know your work?
If it's a color that's on the kit, don't expect it to be there when I'm done painting. I am the guy that will change every color of every single piece of every part of the kit. I've come to learn that about myself, is that there's very few kits that I've left the same color. I definitely enjoy, playing with colors. So, I think that's me. I love mixing it up. I love taking a black TriStar colorway and throwing it on something that shouldn't have it, as you guys know, or putting a different spin on like an older color scheme, just brightening the colors, lowering the colors. That is me, the high grade guy with bright colors.
You'd be like known as Seattle TriStar if you changed your name, right?
Everything.
Yo, that's got a nice ring to it, actually. I like that.
Yeah,
I do. Seattle TriStar.
Yeah,
you heard it here first. If I ever change from Chloeesdad, it's definitely Seattle TriStar.
Yeah.
All right, I like it. All right, and Josh, what about you, man? How would you describe yourself as a builder?
So me as a builder, I typically like to do a lot of my stuff repainted, and I usually stick relatively to the original color scheme of the kit. I describe myself more as a collector for the hobby and a builder second. So whatever I have in my backlog, it's what I want to have seen on the shelf at some point. It's like I want to entertain that younger self that had first seen the Gundam anime or seen like the games and stuff, and just kind of, that little bit of a happy place, building a happy place over time. My own little mini museum, you can say. So, yeah. I mean, there'll be times that I do a little bit of customizing here or there. But yeah, I mostly just focus in all my repainting for colors, vibrant colors, and weathering.
Yeah, man, we're gonna get to that. We're gonna get to that for sure. Yeah, I think for me, I actually started with a lot of car model kits, so that's kind of where I approached Gundam. I grew up snap building kits together with my nail clippers back, when I was like 11 and 12 years old, and getting back into it now with paint has been a lot of fun. But I definitely like to do a clean build, nice clean colorways. I'm not really the weathering type. I tend to like really big kits until I'm building them, and then I hate them. And I wish I had smaller kits. Kind of like CD, I love to recolor things too, and just kind of mix colors up and just whatever's inspiring me at that moment. And
snap builders here, huh? I seen you talking about that earlier about snap building kits. It's just like you don't got that itch anymore to snap build. If you build it, it's got to get painted, right?
It's that habit, man. Because like when I build a kit, I'm already going in. Like I'll see like a male-female connection on a peg, and I'll start like loosening up the connection, start triangle cutting stuff, or I'll start slightly loosening the build like as I'm going along. Like I know some people, they'll wait till they're after, but my mentality is like, well, if I'm already building it, just save myself a little extra time and just start doing those modifications now, even if I don't end up painting it later, because it's going to save me a headache. But I did actually start while I'm in the process, I've been working on a master grade Gian. So in between waiting for stuff and just kind of taking a break, I opened up my copy of the Fat Cat '01. So I just did that a little bit before our recording started, and man, that thing's a. It feels so weird knowing it's an RG because I snapped up the RG and then seeing it in just master grade proportions. It's still something to wrap your head around.
We both have it too.
Yeah.
Me and Ricky both have it.
Yeah, it's high up on the backlog list right now, and I got to see one at Plamo, which was just a straight build with a top coat, like decals and a top coat and nothing else, and it already looks really good. Maybe my favorite, like 100 RX-78. I have decided, yeah, if I want to keep it the original colors or mix it up. I don't know,
Next
CD,
group
about
build?
you.
Is that our next buddy build? We've already.
Right, we all have it. I mean, mine's right here. I already got
Well,
the pieces
I
chopped
feel
up.
like
The
Ricky's
armor.
gonna be in buddy build hell for a while because he's doing one with Coop.
Right.
So I think once he's done with that, CD and I are gonna have to grab him and
Hey,
throw him back
but
in.
I like this though because it motivates me to like really finish and work on a kit. Because sometimes I'll get in the mood where I'll start something and I'll set it to the side. I'll start something and I'll set it to the side. But I'm working with you guys. I'm looking at Cobra. I'm like, all right, he's already doing this step, and then I'm like, he hasn't started yet. Then the next day, Ricky's like, all right, yeah, I just primed everything. I'm like, so yeah,
I
definitely
tend to
enjoy
be
the buddy
last to
builds.
start, first to finish is
Yeah,
kind of my
it's
move.
fun.
Actually, well, so CD, since you brought it up, why don't we talk about like how this idea came up to do the Gelgooks together? I feel like you kind of have the whole
Man,
story. So
I mean, well, we were supposed to have already done one, and I was working with Ricky on it, and then it went from yeah, let's do this to Ricky like yeah, it's primed. I probably won't. I'll wait for you. The next day, there's a whole color already. I'm like, all right, well, are you waiting for me? And the next thing I know, it's painted and done. Like 3 days later. So we doubled back. I was like, hey, Vulcan, I need another one. We're actually going to do it this time. So I actually have a Gelgoog already, like broken down, ready to go. But I was like, since you guys are starting from the base, from the bare minimum, I'm going to start there too. And Ricky, slow down this time. Let's all do this together. Cobraplamo was like, hey man, like let me get in on this too. And I was like, of course, like we got to do it. We're all Northwest builders. Let's put something together. And we set a date. I said like November 5th, and maybe that was like a 2.5 week span, and we all had it down maybe like 3 or 4 days before. It was
I
yeah,
hate to be that guy, but there is some detail left out of there that I have to
yeah. Oh
insert
yeah, we're gonna
because
get there. Go for it.
okay, I don't want to get ahead of
No,
it,
you go
but
ahead. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
was
Tell
gonna
your side
say,
of the
so like
story.
from my end, this started at the GBWC in Redmond, and I just see Ricky and CD walking around like, oh, there's the Gquuuuuux Gelgoog, and I'm sitting there with them, and CD's like, you should buy one too, and I'm like,
peer pressure.
I don't know, because I'm gonna be honest, I'm not very keen on the kit. I still am not, but I heard the word buddy build and kind of twisted my arm a little bit, so I ended up buying it, and so much so, I must have done it very sneakily because like when you guys started doing it, and the only time I figured out that you guys were gonna do the buddy build still was on your podcast CD on Wednesday. And I was like, Where's my message at?" So I went and
Right.
messaged you, and I'm like, "Hey, I want to get in on this too. This is what we planned, right?" He's like, "Oh, well, you still need to get the kit, yeah." And I'm like, "But I already bought it. You guys peer pressured me." He's like, "Oh yeah, you did buy it, didn't you?"
I got it there with that
So
brown bag. Should
yeah,
have
it was
known it
that
was in there.
yeah, yeah.
Damn.
Oh man, yeah. I thought because you bought it, but you seemed like so reluctant to buy it. I was thinking like, Josh probably not gonna want to build it.
Yeah, it's something else in that bag. I had
And
to
then
even
it's
yeah.
and then it sounded like, and then you hit up C. It sounded from my side that you hit up CD and was like, "Hey, we're doing this,"
Yeah.
and it was like, "Oh, he's down. Okay, then we definitely got to do it. Like, if we're together."
Yeah, we
So
definitely
yeah,
got to do it.
and then on my side, so I was prepping for Plamo back in what would that have been, August?
Yeah,
Yeah, and
mid
so
August.
yeah, and I was just kind of like putting together like all the work that I was getting ready to fly out there with, and I had like 3 or 4 days, and I had like just a little bit of space left, in my suitcase, and I had the Gelgoog all clipped up, and I was like, oh, I was gonna wait for CD, and I was kind of like texting him about it, and I'm like, and then just like one thing led to another. I had the color picked out, and then it was like snapped and ready to go. I feel like I finished it in like
Ooh.
4 or 5 days. But the thing about that Gelgoog is I got second place with it, and I brought like a bunch of 1/100 kits. Like I brought some of the work that I like spent the most time on this year, and that was the one that won. you know, so in some ways, like I don't regret it, and I'm actually really happy that I got a chance to build it twice. Appreciate you guys for all that. All right, um, we're gonna play a quick game. Let's talk about Gquuuuuux the anime. All right, and I'm gonna count to three, and you're gonna hold up with your hand 1 through 5 what you rate that series. So one being the worst and 5 being the best. We're all gonna put our hands up together. Okay. All right. 1, 2, 3, go. Oh, we got 3 for 3. Okay.
Oh, I'm surprised Josh gave it a 3 for sure.
You know
Well,
what? I'll say 2, maybe 1.
okay, Josh, go ahead and give us your review of Gquuuuuux.
So just as a disclaimer, I've only watched the movie release in theater, so that's basically like the backstory episodes for Gquuuuuux.
2 and 3.
Um, and yeah, it was like 2. It was like 1, 2, and 3, I think.
Yep.
I will admit I like the nod to the original UC, but I started seeing more stuff online, and I didn't have Amazon Prime Video, so I kind of just waited, and I started seeing all kind of the clips online, and I typically don't like to just get a review based on short clips, but because it was so short of an anime and with the way they've kind of like presented the pacing and stuff, I kind of felt like I've already seen what I needed to know. And so with that, I kind of just grew really disinterested in it. I liked the idea of an alternate timeline because it's been done before. In case y'all don't know, there was some groups of games back in the day called Gear and Greed. So essentially, it was like playing alternate story timelines in this, video game of like, oh, hey, what if Char captured the Gundam, which was what they did in Gquuuuuux, or what if the TriStars got the high mobility Gelgoogs, or what if Xeon won the war? So I was pretty up for the idea, but I don't know. Once I started learning more and more and more about the anime, I kind of just really grew disinterested in it. So my 3 is literally just for the OG UC stuff.
This shout out to that.
Yeah.
Episode 1, 2, and 3 then, yeah?
Yeah, well, I also really
maybe
like
not even that. Maybe episode 1.
I really liked the reanimated, like, even though it was, in my opinion, the dumbest thing they could do, I was glad that they reanimated the fight between Char, Lala, and Amuro. Even though it was without Amuro, that was really sad. Um, I guess a very quick tangent. We should have started the show with just that, and then blank to Char getting the Gundam, because then it would get people really curious. Like, I feel like that whole anime should have just been about Lala and not Machu, and her finding out that she's tried so many times, almost like a Steins Gate sort of scenario, where she's trying to figure out how to save Char, and then she comes to this conclusion of, oh, well, maybe I have to be the character that dies to save Char. And then that would have been really cool to kind of have that like character development that would tie back into the original anime, since they've already
Right.
kind of did that.
Yeah. CD, did you see the theatrical release?
Yep. I went to the movies to see it, and I tuned in weekly on Amazon to watch it. And I watch a lot of anime. I'm usually a subbed guy, but I definitely enjoyed the dubbed cast. It's pretty dope that typically Bandai and Gundam shows don't come simulcast in so many languages, but Amazon had it to where they had like 12 different languages same day release. So I could tell that they tried to put some money into this one too.
Yeah, for sure. And what'd you think about the series overall?
Man, it was okay. I think they kind of lost control. I don't know if this was planned to be 12 episodes, but you can kind of tell like just the way the story flowed. Like they had this first half of where they're talking about, clan battles, and then immediately stopped to let's go back to like kind of UC good guy, bad guy fight to multiverse. So it was kind of all over the place. And I feel like, I don't know, a lot of show, they could have explored a little more, maybe even put up the clan battle because that was such like a small part of the show that didn't even really make sense to like grow any of the characters. But
Yeah.
as a guy, I am like a model kind of. I like the suits first, anime second. So the lore to me didn't really. I was like, oh, that's cool, but like, let's see the cool suits. So I definitely like the suits. So I enjoyed
Yeah.
that part.
I saw the theatrical release, and this might be one of the first anime period that I've seen on the big screen. And I thought it made a good impression on me just because it was like reshooting so much of the original series, and I had seen like a lot of those original episodes, and like just hearing the music again and seeing all those scenes again on the big screen was like, oh, this is actually really cool, even though the designs were like totally different and the story got switched up. um I I was kind of disappointed in the show after the movie like built up a lot of hype for me. um I think it needed more time,
Yeah,
right? It like yeah, like I think it just everything just felt rushed. The characters really you really didn't get a good sense of them before they disappeared forever in some cases. And it just yeah, it just felt like there were a lot of ideas and they just didn't have enough time to like really make it all flow.
you
In
kill the Black Tri-Stars off in like one episode. Like I
Yeah,
was like, what?
they were just like junk haulers or something like that, right? I can't even
Yeah.
remember. But as far as the suits go, uh, so CD, you talked a little bit about the suits, and is this one of your favorites from the series, the Gelgoog?
Oh, yeah. Definitely my favorite suit. When we first seen the designs, you guys watch the pod, you guys know we were all like gross. But as the show like went on, and you can kind of see some of them over my shoulder. I have the Police Zaku, I have the Gelgoog, I have the Gquuuuuux. They definitely did grow on me. But the Gelgoog, and it's so weird calling it the Gelgoog, just the name of it. But this is definitely one of my favorite suits. And I think as far as gunpla, every suit I've seen, everyone's custom I've seen looks so much better than just like the original colorway of it. Like Cobra with your Johnny Ridden, amazing. Ricky, your Shin Atsunaga, like Daniel Cunningham's the green and gray. Every color besides the classic red and white of it made the suit look so much better. So as far as like when I got to get it as a model, I knew like this was gonna be my favorite for sure.
Josh, was this your first Gquuuuuux kit that you've built?
It was my first Gquuuuuux kit, yeah. So, because I had got that alongside the gun cannon light type when we were there back in August. So, I kind of like CD. A lot of the designs I very much don't like, but some of them kind of grew on me just a little smidge.
Just enough, just enough to buy it.
Um, but the Gelgoog and the Red Gundam are like my least favorite. So I think that really pushed the idea of my custom kit for our group build was the fact of me completely redesigning the head sculpt for it. Because
Making it a actual Gelgoog.
yeah, because when I see the name Gelgoog and I just see this like fake looking GM, it just
Right.
kind of the one thing I keep touting, and I really wish I had a time machine and I can go over to Japan and do all these things. Like, why didn't you just call it like a Jim Camuth? Because that thing exists, and that actually never has a model kit. So I think that would have been a nice little nod to the Jim
Right.
Camuth because that's Xeon's fake GM in actual lore. So that would have been a nice little nod. But um, so yeah, no, I even after building it, I think I only like it just a smidge more, just because I was able to kind of turn it around and us doing the mods, but just baseline, not so much. I mean, the kit for anyone that has it's literally like this big, and it's $30, and you only get like three accessories with it, just two beam pistols and a beam saber, and so I don't know. I feel like if you're gonna look into a Gquuuuuux kit, there's a lot more better options out there in the line.
What's your favorite in the line?
That's a little hard just because again Gquuuuuux is still pretty low on my list, but I have the Gian in there, and I have the Police Saku and the light type gun cannon. So I think maybe any of those three are okay. I am thinking about maybe copping that Gquuuuuux Humbrabi that they've just
Yes.
announced. Other
Yes.
than that, I mean, I think out of the stuff I own, like I think maybe the Gion just a little bit, for some reason I've been on a weird Guillaume kick lately, so
I
kind
mean,
of the influence.
it's got that huge medieval times
Wedge.
jousting spear right there. So
Yeah.
I'm not too crazy about that portion. I might just omit it from my build. We'll see, because
Really?
apparently it's one giant seam from one tip to the bottom, and that I don't like that idea of having to clean up a very fat seam. So we'll see. I might just give it the regular beam lance, and just no surprise. But I'm probably just gonna paint it in the OG Gian colors from OG UC, because white, as much as white looks good on mobile suits, like we need to give it that OG color scheme for that Gian.
Cobra's all OG. That's why I love him.
for sure,
No
I respect
nonsense.
it.
OG. Yeah, all OG.
That's just the thing for me, right? Like, if anime figures and like robot spirits were not as expensive as they are, I'd probably be bundling up on a bunch of those more than gunpla kits. So it's like, us as builders, like, we think about what we want to see on our shelves every day. It's our thing, right? So
Right.
what we make, what we build, it's like we have to live with that choice aside from the bank purchases, right? So that's just kind of how I see it. It's like this is the thing I like. I like it for this reason. Well, that's why you don't really see me customize my stuff a whole lot, because I genuinely love the retro OG kind of anime vibe. I feel like I'm kind of like that black sheep in the Gunpla sphere when it comes to just having things all simple still and not hyper detailed up.
You make up for it though with your paint. I think
100%.
we'll see pictures. We'll see the pictures of the kits. Like you might not go crazy, like scribe everything and add plot plate here this, but like you say your paint's basic, but like that's what when I see a picture, I could not see anything, but if I see your paint, I know that's you. If I see your detail work, your weathering, that's you. So yeah, you might not make up for it. You make up for it in other ways. So I wouldn't say you're black sheep, man. You're the man with that stuff for sure.
Oh, that's really nice of you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you have like a real signature style for sure. And like it's a Cobra build because of that style and because of the subject matter too, which is important, right?
Exactly.
Um, and I think even, I mean, why don't we just jump right into the builds then? Because even though this is a Gquuuuuux kit, I mean, Josh, you still put your signature on it in
Spin
your
on
own
it. Yeah.
ways, right? So let's get into kind of the build process. And I was hoping we could just talk a little bit about prep, just some of the things that we needed to do to the kits before paint, and then we could talk about paint, and then we could talk about assembly, just kind of going in the order that these things come together. So why don't we start with you, Josh? So you did the most extreme modification to your kit, which is
Yes.
the head. Are we
Please
able to
explain
get
this
that?
to us.
Yeah,
How?
so I was actually doing this at a local build with a club I'm in, and I brought the kit, started snapping it. And my original intention was to just snap it up and take this home, but for some reason I had the fire lit under. It's like, no, we're gonna do this modification right now, while in the middle of this build. So this is kind of like the rough end, but there's a really famous builder out there called Ray Studio, and he actually did a reel of his own modification of the Gelgoog. So he did a whole bunch of similar stuff where he chopped out the front eye and reconstructed stuff. So I basically used his reel as a bit of a foundation for that. The reason why there's that little bit of a thick strip in the top there is because I actually cut the material a little too much, and so I had to like recover it with a thin piece of styrene. But essentially, you cut out the three prong eyepieces, and then the front of that is like what's left. So I had to like slide it out and then scratch build thin plot plate with the those kind of half circle shapes that go into the side of the cheeks. So with that being said, after that was all done, I ended up kind of taking the different route because the top of the head was still looking a little rough. So I had some melted down sprue that I have in like a Tamiya jar. So I just start kind of glopping it on top of the head, and it was starting to sort of take shape. You'll kind of let it sit and set, and then start sanding it down. I think the real challenge with that part was to not get too much or over sand away the Vulcans on the right side of the head, which is what I wanted to keep. But yeah, it was pretty much just a little bit of a time of, again, just having to apply all that goop and then wait like basically like half a day more, even like a full 24 hours in sand. So in between that time, I went ahead and just started building. And I know while I did that, I saw the little beam pistol, and I had some leftover 3D printed parts from like a Gelgoog type of similar rifle, and I just started chopping away resin and attaching it on there. And I had the barrel. I'm like, maybe we'll add a little bit more. And and I was kind of inspired because I saw Daniel Cunningham's build, and his kind of felt that way where you literally just had big stuff put on top of it, but in a
Yeah.
good way. So I was like, well, what's stopping me from putting like this beam rifle scope on top of that? And I know like Ricky was he was chuckling a little bit of the fact of how ridiculous it looks, and I agree, it looks ridiculous, but
But it's fitting.
yeah,
It's a Gelgoog.
my thought is that the whole kit to me already looked ridiculous, so we just kept adding to it.
Yeah.
Uh,
What did
but
you use? Yeah, what did you use for the mono eye?
So the mono eye is literally just you know how like you got the end of the sprue on the sprue gate that's like circled, that's like a little bit ovaled out. I literally just chopped the end of one of those and then just plopped it, because the piece that's actually holding that is that whole assembly for the teal camera portion that's fitted into the back side of the head. So I literally just had to try to fit that in the middle there and make sure it didn't clash with me actually like removing parts. Um, it ended up being to where that, because that front cap, because it had the three-pronged eye, that's all like one piece, and that's actually clicked together with the three sides of the head there with those little like lipped L pieces. So that's how they actually connect. And because that connection's gone, I had to kind of just lightly cement it to the rest of the dome of the head and make it look like it was a panel line, so that when I removed it, because at first when I was building it just kept falling off, and I was like, all right, we're gonna just weld this sucker back on and hope that everything else, comes apart. Um, of course, the other challenge was to make sure that the snout was seated properly, on top of me having the modified sprue. So it was kind of a lot of just kind of back and forth and trying to be as patient as possible, because again, you got a lot of chemicals over time that are reacting, and for me, I'm like, okay, well, I only got 2 weeks here, so I need this done like now. So, but I think it ended up working out, which was cool.
Yeah. Did you paint the mono eye after the fact, like with the whole head together, or did you have to? Were you able to take the head apart in order to do the paint work?
So thankfully, yeah, I was able to take the whole head apart. Um, so because I added a bunch of Tamiya cement and stuff, thankfully it didn't. I had removed the earmuffs prior to make sure that they didn't get welded onto the
Leave it
head.
in there.
So
Yeah.
once that was done, I just took off the whole assembly. I was able to take it all apart and paint the Model Y and the cameras separately as that pink color.
Nice. CD, what was your experience with prepping the kit?
Man, quick. That's one thing. I gave us a short time period, and I was like, man, maybe I should give myself a little longer, because it was in the height of Chloe's basketball season, and she's like, Dad, let's work out together. Let's do this. The missus like, hey, let's do this, let's do that. And I was like, dang, I kind of like put us on a tight schedule. So literally mine was only things I used. I didn't do any seam line removal. I didn't like do anything crazy. It was just sanding. Sand, 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 sand. So, like I said, I have one more that I might do this with, because I think the head on Josh is like really makes it stand out, and I definitely want to try my hand at doing some recreation of myself. Definitely.
It's a lot of fun. It's kind of a bit of a trip, because now you're starting to cut away and destroy your kit now, and
Yeah.
running that risk of actually either really messing up or making something that you're going to be happy with.
Yeah.
Ricky, you did some modification too, though, right? You did some seam line removal and
I did. This is actually the most extreme amount of seam line removal that I've ever attempted, and I got to credit Josh, because he really helped walk all of us through a lot of the different parts where there were seams. So, I mean, I built this kit once already, so I was pretty familiar with like how the pieces and they all came together, and I was also I can notice in my first build where all the seam lines were, and how terrible they looked. And so I figured, hey, this is my second go around. I'm gonna put a little bit more effort in, try to make it look really clean. And especially since I knew I was gonna go with like a white colorway, I didn't want there to be. I wanted to look as clean as possible, right? So a couple of the spots I took some pictures of. So this is the back heel, which is two pieces that are snapped together, and so I definitely made sure to try to seamline that. But in order to do that, that required a little bit of trimming on the toe. And so normally there's like a little triangular piece right here on the toe that you're supposed to insert that in before closing these two parts up, right? But it turns out you can just kind of cut that little triangle away, and it holds on there pretty steady. So you're not worried about the toe falling off all the time and stuff. The rear thruster backpack part definitely required a little bit of surgery to do the seam lines. So yeah, shout out to Josh again for kind of.
And had them done quick too. Like
Mhm.
I've been in the chat and see like he's already figured it out.
Yeah, and so I mean, this is my first time like actually cutting pegs and breaking pieces apart, and it actually turned out just fine. Fortunately, I didn't cut too much away where like the pieces don't snap back in. Although in some of the spots I did still need to add some glue. So yeah, this is I think I have a better picture. Yeah, this is the piece that the backpack and the thrusters are connected by, and so you had to do a little cut right there. And yeah, so you can see how this backpack section here are just two pieces left and right that have to come together. And so, but there's like two or three pieces that need to go in to attach to that before you can close that up. And so that's where a lot of the surgery comes into play. But yeah, actually not too painful. This thing had some weird shapes. So sanding took a little bit of effort and precision. But for the most part, not too bad. And then down in the legs, this is the one that I noticed the most in my first build. These like fuel tanks in the legs, you can't really snap them together and seam line them without some work because there's like other pieces that attach them back in the calf and in the back areas.
Yeah, when it came to like cutting and modifying this stuff, there's a few other builders I follow that have done the Gquuuuuux Gelgoog, and the one thing that I know that how kind of they just handled the removal of the seam line was plop more parts on top of it just to hide it. And I was like, as much as I would like to take the easy route, I also don't want to be accused of copying just multiple builders. So when I went ahead and started chopping all this stuff up, I was feeling kind of nervous because like, all right, I only plan on getting this one kit, but once I figured out how this worked, I couldn't help myself but to pass along in our group chat. It's like, hey, like this is stuff that that you guys should be able to do. Like, hopefully, you can replicate it, and seeing that Ricky, was able to do that actually makes me feel more satisfied about the whole build experience than my own build because it's able to take something that you've done and it translates to somebody else's build and it looks just as good, if not better.
Some teaching for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate it a lot, and actually it gave me a lot of confidence. Just again, just because I haven't done surgery on a kit to this level. I mean, this particular mod in the picture, it ended up actually making the legs a little bit loose, so it's almost like it's got two knees. But I gave a little bit of super glue, took care of that for the most part, and I'm not like a huge posing type of dude, so. It wasn't too big of an issue for me. Yeah, but so those were some of the big modifications. Why don't we jump into paint? This was the funnest and my favorite part of the whole thing. CD, why don't we start with you? So you got a fun story about your journey with the color scheme and stuff. Why don't you tell us about it?
Yeah, and you watched it happen live. When I originally got that Gelgoog, I had seen some other color schemes. I was like, I want to do something that I haven't seen before. And I'm mad that I didn't take any pictures of it, but I was so mad at the time that I just kind of jumped the gun a little bit. So I had originally planned to do this kit and then like a nitro yellow by Splash with some white accents and a little bit of black. And I got in the booth and, I tested it a little bit on the spoon. I was like, all right, I'll just spray and go. And I start to spray and I probably get 10 pieces in and the yellow is just looking disgusting to me. And like, I'm like, maybe I hit it up with another coat. Okay. Like hit it with another coat, let it sit for a little bit. And Ricky's there. I'm on the phone with Coop, Ricky, and Austin. We're all kind of chatting it up. And I'm like, nah, this ain't it. And I immediately go back into it. I don't even strip the paint. I just go in my box. I rummage through some paints. And I just pick the first one I see that I kind of like. And I go, Eva purple. Go automatically back into the spray booth and paint everything I just painted yellow, that purple. And that was the first color you see. So if you zoom in, you can kind of still see on the legs that there's yellow in there. And I just was like, you know what, I'm over it. Right there. That was the original color of the whole kit. And I had this whole game plan. I had ordered this yellow. I was testing it out. I was like, I'll test it on the Gelgoog. I'm going to use it for something else. And I erased the whole thing. And I was like, all right, let me play with some other colors. I need to find something that's complementary to this purple. I wanted to try to like be a little different. So I was like, usually I'd go gray or, black. And I was like, well, let's try this green, gray. And, the more I painted it, I was like, it's okay. It's coming along. And once the pieces started coming together, I think the colors kind of worked well together. So that's a Luftwaffe green gray, Eva purple gray or blue gray or whatever it is, and then like a phantom gray to kind of bring everything else together. That in between color to kind of set the two together. And I think, this is a lot better than that yellow was going to turn out to be.
And you didn't even have like your Black TriStars. It wasn't even the idea. It just kind of came together.
It just kind of came and like I said, I was going through a box. I have so many paints, so many brands. And I'm like, all right, let's try this one. And I was like, this one. And if it doesn't work, clearly I have no problem spraying over something, spraying over a color. And I had this picture saved. And I kind of go back to this often because, I love to try, as Cobra was saying, I got a name for it already. If I ever change up my name, you know what it's going to be. And I was kind of playing with this and I was looking at these older Zaku colors because we all kind of talked about ace suits already. And like, I was like, I'm always, TriStar's always in the back of my head. I'll do something else. And look, lo and behold, came right back to it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe it. It was like subliminal or something in your brain, right? Like
TriStars.
you just instinctively got, yeah,
Yeah.
just instinctively went to those colors.
And you were there, Ricky. You heard me crash out. Like, I crashed out.
Hey, next time you're gonna crash out, I want to be invited.
Yeah, oh, definitely. It was a sight, man. Like I'm spraying the yellow, talking to him, and I get inside, and within like 10 minutes, next thing you know, I'm just like back in the lab, back in the booth, erasing it.
Yeah, but I mean, watching it come together, like I wasn't so sure, like the colors made sense,
Yeah.
but until I saw like the torso snap together, and I was like, okay, I get it. Um, so for me, I actually my initial idea, I can't remember the name of the suit now, but I wanted to do like a sort of almost like a design prototype that you would see on like a CAD program or something. So I kind of wanted the entire suit to just basically be white, like a pure white. And I wanted the joints to be blue. And I wanted like a lot of decals just to do a lot of decal work to make it feel like some kind of like prototype design sort of test. But as I was seeing CD and Josh's your guys' colors come together, I was like, okay, well, we have to do an ace colorway now.
It
And
only makes sense.
it only makes sense, and it just kind of worked out that like Shin Matsunaga, the White Wolf colorway is predominantly that blue and white color. So actually, right here on my desk, I brought the this was my first sketch of the kit and how I wanted the colors to look. So I knew I just needed pure white. I needed like a blue that really popped, and I needed two grays just to give it a little bit of just a little bit of a different flavor. So after that, I mean, it pretty much built itself. Josh, I'm not like the big Gundam historian here. Uh, maybe you might know more than me. Like, what is the story behind this guy, like this character? Why are suits the way they are, or anything like that?
I will admit, like Shin Matsunaga is kind of. I'm a little limited on that. I just know that he was like one of Dolzel's like lieutenants or whatever, one of his like right hand man dudes he would go to aside from like Char. So he was very close with the Zabi family when it came to just like based on like my impression of the character, he was basically like an honorable ace pilot like for the Zabi kind of family. Like I feel like you don't see a lot more of his character for like just standard viewers unless you played like the UC Engage app because there's a lot of like extra story that they put in for him. But I know for his Gelgoog Jaeger, I think that was like some MSVR manga that they had released, and that's why he's got the Gelgoog Jaeger in his colors there for that color scheme. So the only other time I know is when they did Gundam Evolve years ago, when they did all the red Zeta, the gray Zeta, which it's kind of ironic. They call it a gray Zeta, but it's all yellow.
Yeah.
And Shin Matsunaga piloted that Zeta. So yeah, I don't have a whole lot of knowledge, but that's kind of the gist of what I got from him. He's just another named ace pilot for Xeon that they added later on in MSV like info.
That sounds like a lot of information to me, man. I don't know about you, but
Yeah,
um,
same.
yeah. So I got to give a shout out to CD again too, because once I kind of nailed down that color scheme, I thought, hey, I some decals with like his actual insignias and his markings would really set it off. And he came through. He found his RG kit,
That
his
was
Shin
in another
Matsunaga
box.
Zaku. Yeah, and just handed me the stickers for him. The RGs don't come with water slides; they just have stickers. But I'm like, hey, it's fine. And so I got to put a couple of his actual decals on there just to really give it some authenticity. And so like the 573 and then the logo on the one of the arm shields came from that kit. So much appreciated there. Oh, can I point out another spot on my build that I ended up being really happy with, which were the fuel tanks themselves. I feel like I had to share. I even took a couple of different pictures. So initially,
Went back
um,
and forth on those too.
I did. So I actually uh, painted them in one of the grays that is on the rest of the body. And I just felt like, man, yeah, it doesn't really like stand out. And that's like one of the interesting things about these Gquuuuuux kits is that like how much of like the sort of mechanical, sort of functional shapes are exposed. And I thought, man, this could really just use like a little bit more of something. And my immediate thought was to do something glossy. So just knowing me and like my entire stash of like car colors, I went and dug out a midnight blue, which is a Porsche color that I made for a kit. I built a 911 for a friend of mine, my roommate, when I was moving out. And I had I had a little bit of it left over, and it was just enough for me to paint this in this color. So it ended up with a gloss, and it's really dark, but if you shine a light on it, you'll see the flake, and it does have just like a blue sheen to it, which I felt like is maybe my personal favorite detail on my kit.
It's
Um,
a really nice color.
It is. I think me and Josh both said like go like what was the color like blue? You said mecha, not mecha blue, but
like a
you listed
midnight,
some colors.
yeah.
Yeah, we both were like go midnight blue, and it definitely. I think this is the fuel tank is my favorite part on all these kits because that's your chance to kind of go a little wild. Even like I think Josh used the same yellow as your fuel tanks as the rest of it, but
Yeah,
that
I
yellow with the red it looks good.
at first I was actually gonna do like a gray or something, but I was like, yeah, because I was watching, I was seeing like your build CD and kind of like how you did your colors with the fuel tank. And like, well, if I can't get left behind, like no, not going crazy on my fuel tank, so we'll put yellow
Yeah,
on it. Say why not?
it makes it pop.
Yeah. So Josh, tell us how your color kind of came together.
Well, knew that I wanted. At first I kind of wanted to do like the OG Gelgoog scheme with like the green and gray, but then when I thought about it, I was like, well, I'm just gonna be copying Daniel Cunningham's build, and I didn't really want that. So I was kind of tossing between, like, I kind of had this feeling because I think when we were in our chat, I believe CD had already posted photos of his repaint of it being in TriStar, and I know we were also chatting about potential colors between the two of us, Ricky. So I think I mentioned like Shin Matsunaga with the white, and so when we were thinking, it's like, well, I should do like some other ace suit. So I took Gemini, and you're able to give it this prompt where you can take a photo and have it give it like a black outline to it, and with like blank. So I took that in my editor of my build that was already in grayscale. So it just did an outline of that, and I started just applying colors similar to Ricky, and I ended up kind of coming up with both either Johnny Ridden, and I also had an idea for Anavolgato because he also has a Gelgoog. So kind of in between the two there, I was actually just this close on doing it in Gato scheme. But the more I thought about it, I was like, well, I've already done plenty of kits where it's like blue and kind of green. I don't have a lot of kits that I've painted in red. So I just sort of just flipped and just started spraying the red. It's just like, all right, we're doing this. I'm like at the booth, and I just made that conscious decision, like right there with the first color, pulling it out of my paints, and I just sprayed the red, and it kind of just became the way it is right now.
Paints did you use on this, Josh? Because this red is was this Kaizo?
Yeah, so the red is Kaizo Mecha Color Flamin' Red. So if you're wanting to get this, they come pre-thinned already to go out, shoot out of the bottle. Um, and then they had like an orange, and then that dark color, that's actually their Mecha Black, which is really cool. I've never seen a paint line have a black that's like that kind of tone before. It's like a bluish
Yeah,
gray, and I
it's
really
nice.
love that color because a lot of black, like when you're painting like mobile suits or even any model, you don't want it to just be black because realistically, when you see a black subject, they're always being exposed to light, or there's actually like a different tone to the black. Even like in manga and anime, like they'll color like say like Sasuke or Itachi's hair in Naruto like a dark gray blue, similar to
Yep.
this, but you know it's technically black. So I really appreciated Robot Kai Kaizo for actually making this tone of black because it looks really nice.
Yeah, I just happened to have a bottle of that to test, and I did note that like, oh, it's Mecha Black, but it's not like a jet black. And it's I love like that space between Phantom Gray and Black. There's like actually a lot of great opportunity for color right there, and I feel like this one fits kind of like right in that sweet spot. Do these spray in gloss or are they matte?
Yeah, they do spray and gloss. So I
Gotcha.
definitely had to do a lot of toning down with the matte coat later to try to get that color to be a little bit more of a velvet sheen.
Yeah. All right. So finished
Shout out to
product.
Josh on this too, because the edits of
Yeah.
these together were fire. These were fire.
Yeah. How did you edit these photos?
So there's a free program you could do. It's called Canva. So it's like a editing program that lets you. I had access to a premium, so I was able to do a few more things. Like you could take out the backgrounds of pictures and stuff. So I was kind of thinking like, well, we're all kind of doing this buddy build thing, and we're kind of typing this up. So why don't I just go the extra step and take away some more time and put these together real quick? Because I think it's one thing when we're all posting separately, but when you have them like all together, like seeing our work and stuff, it's a little bit more special. So I'm really glad that I took the time to put these together. And I mean, I think it only took me like 45 minutes maybe at most, like no more than an hour, just kind of map things out. So the the one funny thing is that like both Ricky and CD, they pose their kits so similarly, but they're in a different angle, so it's like flip flop. So when I was trying to do the initial cover photo, I was like, well, they're both posed the same angle, and then I got just I have photos that are like not that, so I'm like, how am I supposed to put this together? So I was like, I don't think Ricky would mind if I just mirror his for the sake of a cool cover, right? So
I drew the short
Worked out
straw.
perfect.
I drew
yeah,
the short straw. I got the backwards numbers.
yeah, Yeah. I was like, and I was like, where am I gonna put mine? And I was like, well, I got this weird step thing. We'll just put that there. Not like I was like, no, totally not biased because I'm making the edit or anything, right? Like I legit was like, I don't even know where I'm gonna put mine, and I don't have like the same pose. Like, we'll just slap it in the front and hope they'll be okay with it.
Me and
So
Ricky came from the same posing school. Just
Yeah, right.
yeah, but
Well,
of
you
course I
got
made sure to
yeah.
fix it when the other pages were done. So
Well, I appreciate that.
yeah, these kids
No,
are amazing,
it's
bro.
fine. I actually seeing them all together, and I think just the sort of magic of having them all kind of end up with the same theme, just really makes it just really makes this build pop. And yeah, I mean, I love just the color blocking on the kit as it comes is already like I think pretty solid. Like I actually really like
Mhm.
that Bocata's color blocking, and I didn't try to steer away from that too much. And it seems like for the most part, like none of us did.
Yeah, I think we all
Um,
kind of kept it similar.
yeah, and CD, your eye circles the pink. What are you using there for that?
Yeah, this is Vallejo Game Color. It's a squid pink. I actually have it on my desk. This is when I go pink mono eye or pink anything. This is usually what I do. And with this, since they were so small, I didn't try masking or anything. I just literally took the end of my alligator clip, dipped it, and then dipped it right on each circle. And then I kind of went back and cleaned it up with these little micro swabs from gun primer. Smooth sailing.
Nice. Those Vallejo colors are really good brush painting colors for sure. Yeah.
I'm all on my desk, man. I kind of stand by these when it comes to these smaller details. 'Cause, masking. I like the mask now though, that Ricky gave me this thing right here. You guys don't know, but when it's something as small as that, pull out your brush.
So I did not pull out my brush for mine. I ended up airbrushing it. I felt like, you know what, I could try to paint it with a brush. I could bring out like the tiniest brush I have, but I just wanted to challenge myself a little bit. And actually, I have some tools on my desk here I can bring out. So I actually bought a set of these punches. I think they're like for leathercraft, but you've got larger punches that you can use like for woodworking and stuff like that. But I ended up getting a set of these. I found a set that was just right, and then you just go ahead and punch it into some masking tape, and that's how I got like my little tiny circles. And I just went ahead and tried to do it that way. So I painted the
Yeah,
whole thing in a red, just masked those three little circles, and then I sprayed the whole thing black, and it turned out pretty good for the most part. And then I just kind of do a little panel liner in there for that. I also wanted to say that that blue that I've got in there, that's CDU put me on it, is Gaia Virtual on Ice
yep.
Cobalt Blue.
hmm
And to me, that was like absolutely the most perfect blue that I could ask for this build. It is my first Gaia paint that I've ever used. I generally use Mr. Hobby or Splash Paint, but I know like there's a good chance your favorite builder uses Gaia paint.
I
And
heard.
actually, I had a great experience. It was and this color was awesome. Um, and then Josh, I know you use the Gaia paints. Any did you try to do any shading with yours?
no, surprisingly, no. This build was no shading done, which you're probably kind of wondering, well, what the heck is up with that? I
Right.
mean, I'm gonna be honest. I was kind of in this mood where I'm like, we only have so much time, and like I'm already kind of not feeling this kit as much as I did all this modification. I did all this stuff. Like a part of me was like, ironically, I didn't feel like putting my huge effort of what I normally do, which I guess ended up turned out pretty well. Because when I look at the kit, it's really small, and I feel like you can only do so much shading on the kit to where it kind of just looks like there's just a bunch of. It just kind of looks more abstract and hard to see. So I think after seeing like how you both were painting your kit and we're kind of going with sort of a matching aesthetic, I kind of just went ahead. It's like, what, we're just gonna paint straight off the color and not do any color gradients on it.
Yeah.
which I think ended up working out pretty well for this build in particular.
I think it's a good point that because a lot of these Gquuuuuux kits are so visually busy to begin with, it does make for a shading just feel, well, maybe it just takes it like a little bit too far in some cases, right? A little too busy. Yeah. But you did do some weathering.
I did. That was that was like I was like towards the end, and I was like kind of telling myself I was like, man, I'm so glad I'm getting so close to being done this build, and then I just kind of had this little click like, ah, no, we're gonna do some weathering on it, and I'm like, I guess we're doing it, we're balling. So I just kind of
It
grabbed some
ties it
paint.
together.
Yeah, just kind of put some paint on there, chipping, because I was like, well, I already didn't shade, and I know everyone else is kind of doing their own signature stuff on the build. So all right, we'll do a little bit of chipping all over it. And it was the first time in forever that I actually, because I normally sponge chip stuff and I use like a toothpick and things like that. I literally just took a straight paintbrush and just did the first layer of chipping, which is like a kind of like a pink red color that I mix with like a tan and a red like Vallejo. And then, of course, I use my favorite go-to, which is the Gundam Real Touch markers, because they have a really thin tip. And I added that like darker undertone chipping to kind of tie it all off.
Um, give us for people that don't weather, like myself,
Right.
what is the process to weathering a kit?
How many
Um,
layers? Yeah.
layers.
Yeah.
So doing weathering in the short sense. It's like completely redoing your whole process. It's like when you're taking your kit. Like I know some people like the weather as they go, but you always want to go with the intention of starting with a clean build first, because that's kind of how it is with real life things, right? You get it right off the factory and it accumulates weathering over time. So I know for this particular build, I kind of went a little nuts on it. I typically don't go as heavy on the chipping usually, but you normally want to kind of like start looking at spots where equipment or things are going to get rubbed off first. So like you got those like arm shields, like those are going to be picking up maybe some debris or things like that, or even just like in sharp corners and stuff. I mean, given that this kit is seen like mostly in outer space, you kind of go with the mindset of, well, if there's debris and stuff, unlike when you're bound by gravity, you got a lot more stuff coming at the suit, so you kind of have to be more mind. It's more of like in your like fantasy kind of brain, like because we don't have mobile suits in space, obviously. So I was kind of just thinking of spots where like, hey, there could be a chip here, a chip there, or and after a while, I'm like, I went maybe a little heavy than I normally do. It's like, we're just gonna leave it alone and call it good. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Like you don't want really heavy chips because you got to kind of imagine this thing like you're like looking at this mobile suit like if it was in real life. So every time when I weather, I imagine, hey, like if it's like a 1/144 scale kit or 1/100 with its size of the kit, that's how I imagine what I'm seeing at from a distance. So is my eye gonna actually pick up that chip, from that far away? It's kind of like the same thing with metallics. Or like if you got like the bumper of a car that's like 5 or 10 cars ahead of you on the highway, like that bumper's chrome, but you're not going to see, like your eye's not going to pick up all that light refraction unless it's like a Tesla Cybertruck or something, or if you're up close on it, So I kind of try to think of it in that sense, like how much is your eye going to pick up on that? But for this build, I kind of went a little bit more extra with it, I think, just to kind of give it a little bit of a flair.
Yeah. I think it works though because I mean the red is so bright that you don't I don't really pick it up as like being too heavy of a chip, you know what I mean? Because like there's so much color that really pops into your eye. But you just notice it in like little corners and little spots here and there, and I feel like that really sets the kid off for sure.
It's so hard to get at this scale, 1/144th, to get the detail work right and to get to like the weathering right. And like you said, like you have to really look in to notice like, all right, the edge of the shield is just has like a little bit. And that's my favorite part when you get to weathering is like you're really good at that scale. Because when I try to weather, I pull out the sponge and I hit it. I'm like, all right, this and I typically build in this scale, so it's hard for me to get there. But with yours, um, you see the color, but you have to really look in to see, like, all right, you hit that here on the thigh, a little bit on the shin. So I definitely
It
enjoy seeing that.
it really helps to have. So I've been using this tool lately, like for like half a year now. It's like an optivisor. So it's got like a little bit of a magnification. It's like a little glasses, like with a lens that lets you like magnify your eyes on the kit, and I found that to be really helpful when you're trying to do very tiny details. Because with all three of us, I mean, we're fairly young, but we are going to get to that stage where we're going to be a lot older and having a hard time, like not having our hands cramp up and try to like see tiny details. So I basically don't go without using that optivisor now when I do my stuff. It just really helps. And the one that I've been told that I really appreciate is like with me trying to do the weathering that I do is like I kind of now want to go with this mindset that like when you look at it from far away, you don't see that until you look up close, and you just feel more like it's a treat, like more worth the effort of actually coming up and looking at my stuff. Because now that you got all that visual stimulation still going even after you see it from like far away. So I hope that when people look at like this build or others, that you kind of get that feeling of like once you keep the more you keep looking, the more fun stuff that you'll see inside the build.
Yeah, you're rewarding the person for coming and taking a
Yeah.
closer look at it. Absolutely. But also it's attractive from far away too, right? And that's a big part of it too. This post has been up for, it says 6 days. I almost feel like it's been 2 weeks, but it seems like less than a week. And I got like, listen, I'm like at 1,100 followers. This is like easily the most visited or liked or interacted with posts that I've ever had attached to my account. So clearly, like this build, this whole thing really resonated with people. Um, I feel like we still get likes.
Yeah,
Uh,
right, like randomly.
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, Josh, you've got the biggest follower count, but I've seen that like I mean we're at like 20 or 30,000 views at this point, which I think is already like quite a lot. So it definitely strikes a chord with people, I would say. Did you bring it to SCGMC?
Unfortunately, it did not place. I entered it in the alternate timeline category in 1144, and those builds that were there were really immaculate. But I literally had gotten it done like a couple days before my trip, so I was like, well, I might as well just bring it. Like, why not, right? So, you know, I'm happy. There were some people that did see it and they liked it. Um, I do have some photos of like more of the finished build. I'm sure we'll share our finished build pictures later, but I can share the one that I have because you mentioned about the likes and stuff, and not that I'm putting myself on a podium or anything, but the one thing that shocked me about this build is this
This is
build is
2,700
received.
likes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm only so this is the most likes I've ever gotten out of one of my build posts, and for one, I'm very thankful for people liking this build. I'm very thankful for people like you guys sharing it and all this stuff. But a part of me is also like, man, I wish I got this on my other build. So I hope that like this is kind of like a step to that direction. But it was just kind of like that thing, like you were saying, Ricky, how it kind of feels like a little bit like a milestone of people like noticing like the work that we're putting into and stuff. So just kind of want to put that nod, like thank you to everybody who's seen all of our work in the collaborative post. But like when I saw that number, because I had posted it overnight, because I was in between flights and stuff, and I was seeing this start to climb to like 1,000, and a couple days later it was like 1,500, and I was like, what the heck is going on with this post? Like,
It's broken.
like something's going on, man. Like I don't know. So again, huge like thank you to everybody who's liked it and stuff. But yeah, these were just some of my photos. I've been playing around with a new light setup, so I have behind me here is like a big felt cloth with like two flexible desk stands, and I'm using like a Nikon D3300, and then and with my post, I'm taking it to a free app. Oh nope, that's not what I wanted. To an app called Snapseed, which is like a free photo editor.
Love it. easy on
So I've been
everything.
trying to play around with this style of like, because I've seen like photography and like magazines where there's this, it's kind of similar where they have like the words and stuff like posted to the side. So I'm really striving to get that like magazine quality level when it comes to like my photography and stuff. So I think
What are you shooting with again? You said a
it
Nikon.
was a Nikon D3300. So it's a little bit of an older camera. But I bought it from a friend secondhand. He gave me a pretty good price on it, like a couple years back. So I've been running with that pretty much ever since, which has been pretty fun to use. So I feel like now, because I just started figuring this stuff out, like with this style with the background, I think like a little while ago, like I think all the way back to like when I was doing my GBWC build, and once I kind of got that, um, I was really liking how it was looking with the contrast with the black. So that's kind of what we've been doing. Funny thing, I'll note for this build, I won't say who, but I've already gotten an offer for someone to buy this build from me.
Wow.
Take it.
And it's a friend of mine, but I told him, I was like, you know what, maybe, because I got in this weird thing where I still have this issue where I grow attached to my builds, especially when it's done as a personal project. Um, but I told him, I was like, look, if I am gonna sell it, it has to wait until I can get the
All
two
three
other
together.
builds together, and
Yeah.
we all get to hang out in person with all our builds and stuff.
We got to make it happen. Or
Yes, sir.
at worst case, I'll bike over to CD. I'll pick his up. I'll bring them all down to you. You could take the photos of them. We
We can
don't
make a
live that
day
far
out of
away.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah. All meet International District. Go see Tom, get some lunch, take some photos, and
It's true. There we go.
I like
I mean,
that plan.
the guys in Japan. I know there's a lot of builders in Japan that do that. They'll literally get together to like a pub, like an izakaya, and they'll bring their builds at the dinner table and stuff. So
oh yeah,
I
I'd
don't see
love to
why we
shoot some
can't
of
do
that
that.
contact.
Yeah, that'd
Nice
be
little plate
super
of food
sweet.
with a Gelgoog next to it.
Yeah.
There you
Let's
go.
plan it out, fellas.
There you go. And CD, these are some of your finished photos.
Yeah, shout out to Cobraplamo too. Talking about Snapseed, that's another free app that a lot of people don't know about. It's a really, really great photo editing app. I'm shooting on iPhone 14 Plus, a black backdrop, and a couple different light sources, and just kind of playing around with the aperture. And I originally tried with some just white photos, and I was like, okay, this with a white backdrop. I was like, okay, this looks okay. But once I got it to the black, and kind of turned up the light a little bit, it really popped against that black background. So the greens and the purples really came out, and then you kind of see the reds that are inside the thrusters. Um, that was the Vallejo bloody red in there.
Yeah.
That really kind of pops against that purple and then the green. So I definitely enjoyed playing with different light sources, different backdrops. I'm thinking about investing in a camera, and both of you guys shoot with some higher quality cameras than this. So be picking your guys' brains to see what's the best thing out there. So
I
definitely
think
enjoyed getting some shots of this though.
absolutely. The back of this kit I feel like is underrated. I wish I've seen more pictures from the back because there's just again so much like complexity and so much detail in the legs, and then you really can see the thrusters too. And actually, you see, I credit you with the idea of splitting the thrusters and painting the bottom of them one color and having the top of them another color.
Yeah, that bottom is German gray from Vallejo, and that's just kind of thinning it down with a little bit of just a tab of water and kind of brush painting over it, and it kind of gives it another dimension. And I'm mad that you don't see it in this one, but with your handy dandy that paintbrush you gave me, I kind of went in and repiped with some metallic the piping in there, kind of like on yours. So
Ah,
like you
nice.
said, from the back of this, like there's so much more going on with the kit. Kind of get to see all the different colors playing
Really
playing
nice.
together.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think this build for me was also a very high performing build on my account. I credit, I think just from sheer luck, these photos ended up being really sharp. Um, so I am shooting on Olympus OMD. This is a micro four thirds. So it's not a full frame camera. I bought it initially to travel with, and so I didn't want it to be like a huge thing that I'd have to carry around with me. But I've got a nice zoom lens on here. I use a macro on it once in a while, and I like shooting on my desk. It's my happy place. I tell people. Um, the other day I put out a poll like should I get a light box, and I think like there's like a small majority said yeah, get a light box or get something to have clean backgrounds, but there's something kind of romantic about shooting on your own desk. um but just something about the lighting that day just captured the white really well, and this particular photo where it's head on, I think it just looks mean, and you just get a good sense of like the different colors and things like that.
For
um
sure.
you were CD talking about some of the metallic. So I really like these display metallic markers, and I use them in a couple spots. It's hard to see, but like right down here, there's like a little section that looks like a
That
metallic
bar.
pipe. Yeah, so I
Yeah.
hit a little bit of that, and then let me see if I get a better shot of my thrusters. So I use the same gray as the boxes here, but painted the bottom of this black, and that was easy because there is like a ledge right there, so it's not too hard to avoid painting over the top.
Did you
And then
mask or did you hand paint it?
I just use a marker, same thing. I
Oh,
just use
oh
one of the
wow.
black markers, and then the piping right here, yeah, display marker silver, and then there's a blue metallic display marker that just kind of fit with the rest of the kit there. So I got a little bit of that right there, and then a little bit of that right here as well. On these little, I don't even know what you call these, uh, antennas or beacons or
Wait,
whatever.
lights? Yeah, maybe beacons.
Yeah. Um, yeah. So as a first group build, I couldn't have asked for better
Oh,
partners.
hold on, Ricky.
Yeah.
I see there's some scribe in there too, dog.
Where?
I'm not,
Yeah,
Oh,
there's a scribe box
come
on
on,
that waist.
oh,
yeah.
that's
Have you
my
seen
that's
there? Josh seen it too?
Yeah, there's that
yeah.
waist right there. I see a box right there.
That was my
Not on our
secret
kids.
scribe. Secret scribe. Yeah.
Secret scribe.
I just got a set of SABs, and I was just looking for a spot to. I just need to test it somewhere. Personally, not the happiest with how it turned out, but it's so subtle that you wouldn't even know unless you were looking really closely at it, like you guys were. So, but yeah, thanks for reminding me. I'm glad you guys caught that. Shall we wrap it up? I got a couple of rapid fire questions for both of you.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot them
Let's
off, brother. Shoot them off.
Yeah, we should go ahead and jump into that as our way to wrap up. So why don't I'll just ask a question, and Josh, why don't you answer first, and then CD, you can answer second, all right?
Yep.
All right, number one, would you rather have one kit with 1,000 pieces, or 10 kits with 100 pieces each?
10 kits with 100. Based
Same.
on my backlog, yeah.
Same. The quicker I can get to it, the faster. I got some big kits in my back like that. I don't know if I'll ever build. So
So my initial answer to this question would have been 1,000 piece kit, except for when I'm building that 1,000 piece kit. Then I wish I had smaller
right.
kits. Um, if you had a signature color, what would that color be?
That's a good question. I don't think I have I think it's just got to be the staple Gundam color because I keep doing RX-78 so much. I mean, unless we go my full armor build that I did years back, with that like those tones of light blue and yellow. But it's kind of funny. I don't think I've done a build yet with like my own logo and colors yet. I've been meaning to do it, so I guess just whatever the original color scheme is is the best way to put it right now.
That's it. Oh, Cobra is just OG.
Yeah, I'm just OG. So
Agreed.
whenever you see the build, expect OG color scheme or
Yeah,
a variant from it in the wiki somewhere.
exactly.
Yeah.
I think I'd go purple because I'm looking right on my desk. I love me a purple or that phantom gray that finds its way onto almost every kit now. So either a purple or phantom gray.
There you go. For me, right now, I know I put Coop and I put CD on UNT gray. which is like a really nice like dark metallic. That ends up on like 80% of the kits that I build as like inner frame color.
UNT great interframe.
There you
It
go.
is. Yep.
Uh, Favorite tool on the workbench?
Ooh.
Definitely the optimizer, like I mentioned before, because if I'm needing to rescribe, if I'm needing to paint, whatever I need to do on the kit, I can see it with much closer than I can, especially if you're doing like a 1144. It's been a lifesaver. Like if you got a sand and stuff, like you need one. If you don't have one, that's a tool I'd say you got to get as an optimizer, and they're not that expensive to get either. It's like really cheap.
Yeah, my ass. I got daytime glasses and I got nighttime glasses, so I'm probably ready for one of those too. CD, what about you?
That's a good question, yo. I'm gonna go with this sanding stick. This is the Infinity 800. This is my favorite sanding stick. It says 800, but it's probably closer to like 650. And I will tell you guys, I don't do anything more than this. This 800, and then I finish it with the balancer because it gets it so smooth to the point where I don't need to go up any higher. And I don't need to go any lower, and I just hit it with this. So this is a must.
All right, and for me, oh, I'm looking for it on my desk and I can't find it. I have a set of reverse action tweezers that I use for decals, and that's one of my favorite things. I bought it. I want to say I bought it from Tamiya direct in Japan, and so there's a nice little like souvenir for me too. All right, what are you watching or listening to while you build?
Uh, Mostly probably podcasts. Like today, I was actually catching up on the Undergated. Shout out Undergated podcast.
Hey, appreciate you, appreciate you.
So like live streams and stuff. Um, I'll kind of just catch up on a live stream or whatever, just listen to it in the background, and that's usually my go-to.
Josh, I threw you the alley oop and you dunked it, man. Perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, man. I could lose down when I got CD over here. It's like if I didn't say it, I'd have a few words later on. You tell
You
me
know,
listen to the Undergated when
when
you're
we hopped
building.
off this, I was like, I thought you wanted to come back on the podcast. Josh. Thought you wanted to come back on. Uh,
Uh,
same. Podcast. Don't listen to my own podcast, but I definitely shout out to WGCA. I've caught Josh on there a few times. I love and Dan and Lang and Ian. Those guys are dope. I'll try to throw maybe like an older anime that I've watched on. I just throw it in dubbed and kind of listen to it. I don't really do too much music when I paint though. I got some music playing when I paint.
There you go. I'm probably right along there with you guys. Podcasts. If there is an undergated, I'll be putting that on for sure. I just started listening to WCGA, so shout out to them. I just joined their Discord server. Really fun dudes. And
Great community.
yeah, and I listen to like a lot of political podcasts, which I should probably do less of. Because I'm trying to keep this my happy place right now,
Right. That
for
while you're
sure.
building though.
No, only good vibes in here. Only good vibes.
Yeah.
Um, all right. Who's one builder that is way better than their follower count?
Oh,
Or
man.
who's like an underappreciated builder that
oh, who's an
you think deserves more
underappreciated
love?
builder?
Yeah.
Oh shoot, I feel like I gotta like go through my following right now. Um, I mean, could I just cheat and say you guys? You, you,
Right.
just because you guys do some really good stuff and it needs more love. So, I feel like I'm cheating there. I mean, we also got like Austin too, because
EXT, man.
he's got like kind of an aesthetic that's kind of similar. It reminds me of like Ricky's kind of aesthetic, and like he's definitely going for that like Japanese Twitter space type of aesthetic when it comes to his photos. So that come on, algorithm, give all three of these guys some love.
Well, appreciate that. I had Austin. Austin's one of the
First
episodes
one.
on this pod, man, and yeah, his builds are his posts are amazing. He's got an illustrator background, is something that I learned, and so you got to tune in for that episode and hear more about him for sure. CD,
Oh
what
yeah.
about you?
Austin, Josh, both you guys. Ricky's a car guy, but he's slowly moving not strictly into guns, but it's definitely becoming a lot more gunpla Gundam content. A guy that just started following me, I think came from Josh's huge post. His name is Gquuuuuuux G Archives. I'll show you guys this page real quick. But he has some really, really clean work. Only has 1,000, but like,
Oh yeah, that's some really clean stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he came from you to me, so I appreciate you because I was like, oh, like, I've been scrolling on this page all day looking at all of his work in progress, and that's a lot of things I love to see. Josh, that you do a lot of. You too, Ricky, that you guys both do work in progress shots, and that's one thing I want to get more of, like showing like how you get into it. These gorgeous builds at the end.
I appreciate that, man. My pick right now, I gotta say Builder Pan. I think all of us probably know who Builder Pan is. I mean, this guy is elite, and his follower count, I would imagine it could be 10 times that. You know what I mean? And it's not like he's like a slouch in terms of the social media stuff, but like, man, his builds are next level for sure. All right.
Man.
Last question. Uh, who should we get on this pod next? And the twist is you got to help convince them to jump on.
Oh, just get Danza Dragoon on here. It won't be hard to convince. He'll just go. Oh, he'll
Yeah.
just be like, all right, let's do it.
How can you
No
not
trouble.
have the GBWC reigning U.S. GBWC champion?
Yeah. So get him on here before they announce the next winner.
Love it.
Man, I am gonna go with Burial. If you guys don't know Burial, Dan, 5-star story king. I know Ricky wants to come to the dark side, the stressful side. Cobra, I want to see you
You got
do
that
one
right there.
in your lifetime. Just one.
I was with Lucara. We were at Anime Jungle, and he's like shopping through his next like 5-star store. He bought one, and I'm talking to him. I was like, "Man, they got you convinced on the 5-star story." He's like, "Yeah, just a little bit." I'm like, I might be down for one too. It's kind of in the back of my mind. I just need to find a good one that'll work.
Buddy build. I mean,
you know what gets me ticking.
Come on, Ricky. We got to convince this guy in the middle to come down to Plamo next year.
Oh yeah, absolutely, for sure. Well, again, like this is my first experience as a buddy build. I couldn't have asked for better partners. I learned so much just working with both of you guys. I feel like I'm closer to you guys. Thanks again for jumping on here and talking about it. I think people are really going to appreciate just hearing our process and hopefully inspire them to do their own buddy builds because iron sharpens iron.
Exactly.
We learn the best from each other when we're a community together, like CD and Coop always say, and Austin at Undergated. So appreciate you guys again, and sounds like we're gonna have to do it again, or we got to go get some ramen. Bring our Gelgoogs with us, man.
Yeah.
And that is it. I want to thank Cobra and CD again for doing this buddy build with me and for recording this episode. If you have not had a chance to do a buddy build, find a friend, find 2 friends, find a project to work on and do it. I really recommend it. I learned so much from the experience. And as you've heard, it likely won't be our last. You can find Cobra on Instagram at Cobraplamo and CD at Chloeesdad, Chloe with 2 E's. CD is also part of the Undergated Podcasts Network, and new episodes of the Undergated Podcast drop every Wednesday. This has been Newtype Notebook, part of the Undergated Podcast Network. Thanks for listening and happy building. Newtype Notebook has an official sponsor, and that's Splash Paints. Splash makes up 80 or 90% of my paint collection. It's great, ready to spray airbrush lacquer paints made in Oregon. Super smooth, great coverage, super durable. They have everything you could need to bring your model to the next level. Primers, mecha colors, including the classic Evangelion colors, military colors, metallics, not to mention hundreds of car colors. I personally love using the military colors in my mecha builds just to give them a real-world sensibility. And the Candy Red and 2K Clear were my secret weapons for my RE100 Nightingale. And I won't use any other paint brands for my 124 scale car kits. You can order Splash Paints direct from splash-paints.com. Splash will be giving away paints to a lucky Newtype Notebook listener for every episode of this season. Keep an eye on the Undergated Network Instagram for more details.